So this is a video on the best teachers I've ever had. This is a video exploring what makes a great teacher. So it's not so much about these specific individuals, but what makes someone a really good teacher. And this could be, you know, applied to yoga teachers, coaches, facilitators, whatever. So my name is Mark Walsh. I run something called the Embodied Facilitator course. I teach teachers how to teach specifically around embodiment, also embodiment yoga. It's what I'm good at. It's what I love. I'm actually a third generation teacher with over 10,000 hours of teaching experience myself. So yes, what I do. So lots of ways to think about this. We have lots of models and logical models. What I wanted to do today was take a more personal approach. So I want to look at some of the teachers who have touched my life and what makes them great, because those things actually apply to anyone and can apply to you if you are teaching or facilitating. So I'll start with my mother. So my mother, I think, was my first teacher in many ways. Still someone that's, you know, the background of my life, very supportive, beautiful, beautiful woman. Had training both as a teacher herself, did teacher training, also as a nun for some years. So was a teaching nun before she met my dad. Skills pops. What she really had there, I think, was unconditional positive regard. So it's a term from humanistic therapy. She's also a counsellor, to really, with your students, really loving them just unconditionally. This is something I struggle with at times, you know, with a difficult student occasionally, but massive, you know, just loving people is the basis, and they will develop and grow themselves without having to be taught anything in that way. Yeah, so providing that loving container, that unconditional positive regard. So there's one. Next one, Mrs. Antipolsky. So she is the first teacher I actually liked. I've gone very badly with most of my teachers, so that's the frame for this. I only had a few good ones. She was, I was like 10 years old. She was like super political, and her passion, her sort of politics, her kind of craziness, that life she had, she really made me go, okay, maybe not, maybe some teachers are cool, you know. So I don't know where you are, Miss Sanipolsky. You're in Cambridge at one point. Hope you're still going. Love you. So next one, Mr. Wake. So Mr. Wake, it was very interesting. Secondary school was a nightmare for me. A lot of the reason I do what I do is because I hated secondary school. I thought a lot of the teaching was rubbish, and this led me and motivated me to go, okay, what is there better ways to do this? So I was kind of like a genius kid at school, passed exams very easily, IQ, you know, in the top 0.01%. And that was actually quite difficult in many ways, and many teachers handled that badly, and I rebel against them. One I really liked was a guy called Mr. Wake. Two reasons. One, I respected him. He knew his subject inside out. As a geography teacher, I wasn't that interested in geography, but he knew it inside out, and he held himself in a way which said that. So the charisma, the gravitas. The other thing about him was boundaries. Now, as someone that was like wild, crazy teenager at this point, or just become a teenager, to have a teacher that was firm but fair. You know, he'd be really firm, but in a very fair way. That kind of yang, holding those boundaries, really, really beautiful thing. So one of my favourite teachers, one of the only teachers I liked at secondary school. There's probably a couple of others, but he was the main one. What else? Sixth form, I remember having a couple of good psychology teachers, and they were very much like called you by your first name. It's more casual, that sort of peer feeling. I think that can be good in teachers. University, not really impressed by many of the teachers there. So I think we come to then embodiment teachers, Aikido teachers. So the late great William Smith Sheehan, his son I'm still in contact with, great guys, Gordon Jones, great guys at UKA, Ren Can. William Smith for me was a gentleman. Strong sense of morals, strong sense of ethics, really community building, really like that inner core of ethics. I think in a teacher that builds trust when you can see they have that integrity. You know, this is what I learned from his Aikido, but what really stays with me is what I learned from him as a man, as a human being. What he modeled for me was very old school, very beautiful, and that integrity. And again, that he had that fierceness, you know, you didn't fuck with him. And you know, I remember only once I was a bit cheeky in class, and it didn't go well. So yeah, love to you and all the other people that are following in that tradition, like Philip Smith, you know, who I really think follow in that line, really respect. The teachers from Aikido, God, this Tom and Maria Helsby, they're like, that's a great example. They're like current Aikido teachers of mine, I've known them for years. They're like yin and yang, totally different kinds of people. It just shows that you can be like totally different kinds of people and still be a great teacher. One thing they do now, which is great, as a more mature student, they give me a lot of space. They give me a lot of room to be creative and do things in my own way, which is, it's difficult for a lot of teachers to do when their students grow up and get more mature in that way. And, you know, Maria's very technical, which is a great teaching skill, to be earthy, to be precise, you know, but caring with that. And Tom's very poetical, big picture, You know, also a great skill to be poetical, to be able to connect. He said, this is like Alexander, like yoga, like Tai Chi. You can connect all different things, which makes it really interesting. So, you know, different skills, and a nice example of difference. Yeah, other Aikido teachers. I mean, there's lots of people. A lot of them start becoming embodiment teachers. So Paul Linden, one of my biggest mentors, what I get from him is just, again, this loving presence, consistently loving. And also just very logical. And he wouldn't ask me to believe anything. He'd say, test it, test it, test it. That kind of logical testing, getting students to test things rather than saying, believe me. That's something I got from him, which I think is really, really cool. But again, with not just the logic, with the loving, he's also got these like this kind of crazy Jewish storytelling way of doing things, which is it's pretty cool. So we can be poetical storytelling. Strozzi, so one of my teachers back in the day, somewhat estranged from him now, but you know, there's no doubt Strozzi has authority, has gravitas, he has charisma, and just a huge weight of experience. This is the same for Paul Linden and many of the other people I'll talk about. Just, you know, that practice background where they've really put the hours in, you know, someone that's really done the work, really put the hours in, and applied that, done the internal work, and then applied it externally. So Strozzi did a lot of stuff inside the US military, according to his culture and values. Paul Linden did a lot of stuff with abuse recovery. You know, I really respect that. People who have done stuff in the world and put it out there in a big way, not just talked about it. They've really walked it. Practice background internally and externally. That's something I really respect from a teacher. It's not just theoretical. They've got, you know, examples of teaching in different locations, different places. You know, it's really the being someone is that makes them a great teacher, I think. So, you know, I was with Ginny Whitelaw recently, another embodiment teacher. Just kind of a new relationship. I've read her books for years, but I only just met her. And, you know, the presence she has, that mixture of power and warmth, that's really the crux of a lot of this. And that practice background, that presence, and that fact that she's worked for NASA, she's worked with businesses, she's done stuff, you know, that life experience which backs it up. You know I'm missing people here. Oh, Don Levine, I've got to mention Don Levine, founder of Aiki Extensions, an organisation I work for involved with politics and martial arts, involved with youth and peace building worldwide. He's the person that invented training across borders in Cyprus, where I met a lot of my other teachers there. Yeah, Don Levine, great man. What I loved about him as a teacher was he was just clever, and he was political, and he also had a sense of humor. He had a wild side, you know. He knew how to be a human being, and you know, he'd come and have a meeting with me while I was in the bath. I'd be like, Don, I'm having a bath, you know, and he'd be like, you know, nothing weird going on. He'd just be like, I want to talk. He had all that energy, that drive, you know, that passion for what someone does is so important in a teacher. He loved Aiki Extensions. He loved Aikido. He's dead now, but you know, rest in peace. That passion mixed with the brain. His also ability to work social networks, to connect people and bring them together. So it wasn't just about being clever or passionate. There's you know, that combination was really powerful. I'm really hoping I'm not missing out someone vital. I've had so many really good teachers from Aikido, from embodiment. You know, there's many teachers that have been unnamed that have been teachers of mine, you know, mentors and peers as well, who are kind of working in this field. But there's a few. So a few thoughts on some teachers, both appreciation, love from me, you know, we stand on the shoulders of giants, but also as examples of some of the qualities, some of the varied qualities that can make an awesome teacher.